forward. Lenora, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. And, as we begin this new year of 2023, I just really kind of wanted to talk a little about mindsets. And I know that this is something that you love talking about, and I love having you on the show. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. And I am so excited to be talking with you. You and I just have so many fantastic conversations, and they just get better and better. So I'm so excited for today.
Yeah, me too. So, one of the things that I think probably every mom and dad of a child who's either, a baby in arms, a brand new little newborn up to, well, let's just say any age child, but we are talking to 0 to 3 here. And this is a very concentrated time of caregiving. You really cannot be off ever. You're on all the time. And it just kind of leads to people feeling a little like, I need to get out of here. So what can you do? What are some suggestions that you have for people who just need to shift? They need to shift the way that they shift their mood, get in a better mood. How do you do that?
Completely. And I do love to talk about mindset and shifting your mood, because it's something so important, and we're not taught it really consistently. And there's so many phenomenal techniques, and my favorite, my go-to one, and there's a ton of science behind this. When let's set up a situation of your first thing in the morning, you're getting out of bed, you're tired, you might not have had a great sleep, and you are just not feeling the day. And it's just, it's dreary out. You got so many things, and you can run down the list of all these things that are bugging you and how it's just not going to be a good day. In that moment, that's where your power lies. You can do what I like to refer to as a pause and pivot. You can pause that chain of information that's coming in and choose, again, pivot in another direction. Our brains are absolutely phenomenal pieces of technology. And a lot of the time, we might not have been taught very specifically how to use that technology. Hence, there is momentum now behind this running list of all the things that are wrong. And it can continue to go until you interrupt the pattern. The best way to interrupt the pattern is to pause, acknowledge that you're in it, and pivot and choose again, and start focusing elsewhere. So you want to stop the momentum. All right, so let me start talking about things that are positive. And great thing to do, start to change your posture and your breathing. In that moment when you pause, you're going to really shift your body and change it quickly. Stand up tall. When you change your posture and you change your breathing, you're going to have a complete chemical hormonal shift in your body. Quick sidestep. When you think of somebody that's not really in a great mood or down or depressed, you kind of imagine this person that's slouched, head down, rolled shoulders forward. In that slouched position, you're having a chemical hormonal response of not a very good response. You're having a lower vibrational response that's going on. When you change your breathing and you change your posture, you bring your head up, you stand tall, you can even go as far to hit a victory pose. Now, you might feel a little silly in your pajamas, in your bathroom, hitting a victory pose, but what's happening when you start to hold that pose for 2 minutes? Your breathing changes. Your posture is now standing tall, and you're now overriding your physical system by doing this, and you're going to have a different chemical hormonal response. In your victory pose, whether you want to stand like Wonder Woman or Superman, when you're in that pose, start to imagine, start to change the picture. What might it feel like if I was having a good day? What might it feel like? And completely change the picture of what might it feel like? When was the last time I stood like this? And imagine yourself in a different moment. In that, you paused from where you were. You pivoted by choosing a different direction, physical and emotional. And in that, you gain your power back. And that is where the power lies, when you're in control. So now you're in your pajamas, you're standing in your victory pose, and your arms, or whether they're out or on your hips, start to smile. Add more power to the system, add more gas to the car, whatever analogy you'd like to use, or a metaphor, add more. So start to smile. You can start now to have that picture of feeling really, really good. Breathe differently, change that entire system, and allow yourself to move physically and emotionally into a different space, into a different mental space, a different emotional space. That's where you're going to get your power back. Another
So
thing
I just would like to throw this little thing in there because I have a picture of a mom who has been up feeding her baby, 4 times last night. They just kept waking up, and you kept having to go in there and give them a little more, give them a little more. And now it's morning. You are in this state, and your baby's in, some sort of carrier, like a bouncer or whatever. And they're on the floor, just kind of maybe even crying at you. And you just take this pose and you smile and you say these kinds of words. Probably they are going to take notice too, and they are going to smile at you, which will just reinforce the whole exercise.
Completely. And I love that you pointed out, having the baby in the carrier. So when you're in that pose, as you're shifting your energy and as you're taking control over that moment, energetically, their nervous system is going to wire to yours. You are in power, which is why, especially when you're in the middle of a fight with your little one, if you can stay calm, you're going to help them calm down. Same situation. When you can feel better, you're going to help their nervous system feel better. Mm-hmm. Depending on what time in the morning, other things you can start to add as music, or start talking out loud and talk about the things that you enjoy. Oh, you're sitting in the carrier and you're blowing spit bubbles at me, and aren't you the cutest? Even though mommy's tired, she's super, super tired right now, but I still love you. And as you do, you're changing your voice. You're pointing out to your mind and to the rest of you. You're pointing out all the good things that are going on. And same thing, we now have momentum. As you start to list the things that are good, more good things are going to start to come to you. And you're going to intentionally set yourself up for a better day, a better mood, and you're going to have your power back. And it's in a phenomenally rapid way to shift from wherever you are by implementing certain techniques of changing your breathing, changing your posture, and listing out loud things that you're grateful for or good in your life. So powerful.
Right. I love that you mentioned that your child really does pick up on your vibes. We used to have this magnet on the refrigerator. It said, "If mama ain't happy, nobody's happy." And it's really true. I can remember when I was a kid and my mom would get, really upset. It was so upsetting to me. Mm-hmm. And it's true for us as parents as well.
Very much so, especially because little ones, they are not the authority figure, and they are looking to you as the authority figure of how to respond, how to react. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. If mom ain't happy, nobody's happy. So mama, we gotta get you happy.
Get happy. Come on now. Okay. So what else? What else can a person do to change their mood?
So even as we mentioned, talking out loud, if you have the ability to add in music, not music as in you had a bad breakup or this is just not the day, and whatever one that's gonna not support you. Think about songs that you may have danced to at specific events, whether they're songs that were at a wedding or songs from a birthday party or songs from your, like, I grew up in the 90s and the 80s, so I have a slew of Billy Joel go-to songs and also a mix of Ace the Bass in there. Have a go-to playlist, a feel-good go-to playlist that's going to energize you. Mm-hmm. And the entire world may not be rainbows and sunshine, but in that moment where you are, you can get your power back, and you will then quite literally start to change the filters in your brain to fire and wire for more positive things, more good things. That is a great thing. This world has two components. We have, however thin you want to slice it, there's one side to it and there is another side to it. Which side do you want to focus on? Like I said, you can slice it as thin as you want, But there will always, 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 always be two components. This is a world of duality. Which side do you want to look at? If you want to look at the less than positive, that's okay. Go ahead, look at the less than positive. If you want to look at the positive, and people will say, oh, well, that's rose-colored glasses. Okay, I could understand that, but at the same time, I'm the one living in my brain. I'm the one that needs to take control of my day. I'm the parent, and I'm the one that needs to lead. I'd much rather lead from a positive mindset. And it's not saying that the less than positive doesn't exist. It's simply saying it exists, but this is where I'm going to focus. This is what I'm going to put my attention to. This is where I'm going to put my energy.
You know, we had 3 kids in 4 years. And so I had a lot of years of really thick parenting when they were tiny. And I had this CD that ages me, but it was a CD, and it was Tracy Chapman. And I loved that CD. I would listen to it during the day. And I noticed that whenever I would listen to that one, like all day or for a good long time, I was feeling kind of melancholic, you know, kind of sad and down and all this, and realized that it was really the lyrics of that music that I was putting inside my brain all day. And I had to be aware of that. And I still love, you know, I love her music, but at that moment in my life, I had to stop listening to it during the day and listen to other things. I'm kind of a classic rock girl. I like a lot of the wild, crazy stuff from my teenage years.
I love that. That's awesome. I love that you pointed out, because it's so true, especially, you know, with the news or with certain movies that are on. They're there, but what it's actually doing is it's generating more of that emotional state, more of the filter for you to quite literally look out for. So just as you pointed out, you're a little more melancholy unintentionally, but it happened. And the fact that you noticed it was phenomenal, because then you were able to pause and pivot and choose again. And great thing.
Yeah. It made me sad that the music made me sad, but I liked it. Okay. So what else? What else can we do?
So let's say you're in the moment and there is a meltdown happening and you are feeling that energy. So what happens, especially when you're in our very busy world, we have things that are buzzing constantly at us. We got our phone, we got people calling us, we got the TV, we got all these stimuli coming toward us. And our brain is telling us we're on overload. So we need to do our best to manage all that information coming in. So you have that information coming in, and now your little one is having a meltdown. And oh my goodness, this is just not the time to be having a meltdown, child. When you can pause in that moment and stop everything, take a breath. When you can take a breath, you will quite literally allow your brain to get the oxygen that it needs, which is so important, so that you can think clearly. The best things to do, especially when it comes to your little ones, is change your posture, change your breathing, also change your voice. When you start to control your voice, you're having more control and power, and you can also soften. As you start to shift your voice, naturally, they're going to start to match you. They might take a little bit of time to get there, and they're screaming, okay, all right. You speak slower, you speak softer, you speak more intentionally. What you're also doing for your nervous system is allowing yourself to control. And even though you might want to, and you can, if you would like to, in the privacy of your own bathroom, but you're doing your best to control your state in this moment, softer, speak slower, and speak more intentionally. Those are phenomenal things to do to control that meltdown in that moment. So when you have that pause and pivot and you, okay, this is what we're going to do for the next couple of minutes, I'll patiently wait. And they may continue to wail and they may continue to scream. Manage your emotional state. That is where the power lies. And allow them, okay, that's what we're going to do. And that will help you be in control. And in time, their nervous system will manage to align with yours, and that meltdown will come to a close faster.
Right. You know, one thing that I remember we used to do, you know, when you're in the car and you're going somewhere and, you know, everybody's screaming and crying, you're pretty trapped, right? You can't get out of it. One trick I used to do is I used to just open the windows. And I know a lot of cars, you can't open the windows anymore, which is really unfortunate. But just opening the windows helped me to manage my own self, but it also let the noise out and the wind came in. And, that was a little bit different for these little babies in their car seat. And it did sometimes help, but at the very least it helped me because I love to drive with the windows down.
Oh.
And, but another thing would be that my husband and I, we would just, we would fake laugh until we really laughed. And we would just look at each other when they're all screaming and just fake laugh.
That's
And it was fun, it was a coping mechanism during that time in our life.
That's brilliant. I love that, to fake laugh, especially because you were able to recognize it. You were able to intentionally diffuse it. So you changed your breathing, you changed your posture when you're in the car, you're sitting up differently. Now you're intentionally generating more positive emotion, which is going to generate more chemical hormonal balances that support it. And you have a phenomenal connection with your spouse. And look at how happy that memory is now.
Yeah, it was truly a fake it till you make it moment,
Completely.
And sometimes the laughing was distracting enough to get this crying to stop. Sometimes not, but
that is so good. Oh my gosh, I wrote that down. It was so good.
Yeah. Well, those are some really great tips for just changing the mood. And you don't even have to be a parent to implement all of these things, right? They work for everybody. And so
there's another thing that I love to do is to, especially when you start to go to sleep. So set the intention of what you would like to happen. And a lot of times we'll go into situations and we're like, yeah, just let me get through this.
I just got to sleep.
I just got to sleep. When you set the intention, whether it's to, what is the intention of sitting down to dinner? Oh, I want to have a nice dinner with my family, and I intend to get a lovely conversation and to hear about what they would like. If that's the intention that you're setting forth in your head. When it comes to sleeping at night, this is so important because especially a lot of the time we would go to sleep with a to-do list of what we have the next day, but also all the stuff I didn't get done today. And we're letting that seep in and sleep with us all long. And then what happens? Then we get to wake up and take it back down and start the day with it. How glorious. So the best thing to do is when you get in your bed and you're all cozy and you're thinking of all the things that went on throughout the day and all the things that have to get done. Think of it like an airplane. Put all that information in this lovely suitcase, close the suitcase, zip it up, and pass it out the door to the person or to the tomorrow version of you. Work on this tomorrow. Please hang on to this baggage until the end of this flight, and check your baggage at the door. And that way, when you're going to sleep, set the intention of what you want your sleep to be like. And I would like to have a restful sleep. I would like to have restful sleep. I would like to have a restful sleep. What I actually very specifically do is I will tell myself I have all the time in the world to sleep. Even if I have, say 6 hours, but body and mind, I know I'm going to let you get all the rest that you need. You will have plenty of time. Take all the time that you need to rest so that we can start the day energized and ready to go. And whatever I want those first few minutes to look like, or how I want to wake up. I want to wake up feeling good. Okay, well, what does good look like? That's pretty general. I want to wake up feeling motivated to get out of bed. I want to wake up feeling excited to start my workout. I want to wake up feeling excited to see my children. I want to wake up feeling happy about the day. Set the intention. As you're doing this, you're firing and wiring your neurons to filter for this. I want to find the good in tomorrow. You can even list the things that you're grateful for, and not, yeah, I'm grateful for it, but truly grateful for it. I am grateful that I get to finally put my head on the pillow. It's okay. Be that grateful for putting your head on the pillow. Allow yourself to feel those good feelings, because what happens, just like you, and I'm sure people have done this. I'm not the only person that has done this. When I go to sleep with all these thoughts of what I didn't do or what I have to do, I wake up in that mood. And the reason is because there was momentum. When I go to sleep, momentum stops, but that momentum will pick right back up where I left it when I start to wake up. So let momentum be positive momentum, intentional momentum, things that you're grateful for, so that when you wake up, you can pick up that stuff right away. Even when you're waking up, coming out of your sleep, I'm grateful for the bed. I'm grateful that I had gotten those 2 hours of sleep that were straight. I'm grateful that I was able to feed the baby in the middle of the night. And I'm grateful that I was able to crawl back into bed and sleep another glorious hour. Thank you so much. Be truly grateful for that, because neurons are firing and wiring. Your cells are listening to what you're feeling. Your body listens to what it feels, not necessarily what it says. If you're saying, yeah, I'm really grateful for it, it heard the
That
words,
doesn't work.
but it also felt the sarcasm. It's so important to be intentional with our gratitude, intentional with what we are setting forth, and not to do it passive aggressively or sarcastically, but to do it because this is a self-discipline. You care so much about how you want to feel that you are dedicating yourself to this discipline of setting forth the intention, of dedicating yourself to this discipline of intentionally taking control of your mood and shifting it by changing your breathing, changing your posture. You're intentionally doing this discipline of pausing and choosing again, because that is how you want to show up for yourself. That is how you want to show up for your children. That is how you want to show up in the world. These are all under self-love and under self-care, and are so important because little ones are modeling us and they're watching us. And when they see us intentionally disciplining ourselves to do things and to intentionally live a certain way, they're going to model that. And that is a great thing to model.
That is. And I just want to add one little piece to this, and that is that when you are in the first year to, well, first 3 years, but particularly in the very first months when your baby's waking up about every hour or 2 hours, and you know when you lay your head on the pillow that you're going to be awakened shortly. Even your mindset around that, you know, of having to wake up in the middle of the night. I just think it's a really sweet, sweet time. And I remember so clearly so many hours in the middle of the night of walking and rocking and feeding and sitting with awake babies. And it really is something to to appreciate. I know it's hard in the moment, but it really is a beautiful thing because it's such a special and quiet time between you and that baby. And so you get to learn a lot about them during that time.
It's so Lisa, they especially even, you know, when they have colds or runny noses and you feel terrible that they're sick, but at the same time, you get to be there with them and to care for them in this incredibly nurturing, beautiful way that we love to show up as parents and as guardians.
Right. And then you can deal with the whole mindset stuff the next day using all of your wonderful techniques, because you might be a little tired, but you will be all right.
You will.
So thank you so much. Do you have any last words of wisdom for folks before we wrap this up?
Thank you so much for your time, Anne. I love spending time with you. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to put all the links where you can find Lenora and all of her wonderful resources in the show notes. And we will do this again one day. I bet we will.